I am, Your Honor.
Okay, good. And oh God, I thought
I'm
that was
filling in
real.
for Miss Rago, I should
I
say.
thought that was real, Mr. Ortiz. I thought I saw real Mr. Ortiz, not stand
Not the
in.
fake
You're
Mr.
just
Ortiz.
like your picture. You're just like your picture, Mr. Ortiz.
The one with the mane?
No, it's the one that was sideways. All right, let's get started because I know we've been here just last week. All right, good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for February 1st, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube. Go ahead, Sharif, go ahead and call.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2021-0D00262, State of Texas versus Angel Gomez. Announcement of counsel, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ray Duke for the state. The state is ready to proceed.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ruben Ortiz on behalf of Mr. Gomez. We're also ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gomez, you do see your client, Mr. Ortiz, appearing from the police center.
Yes, I can recognize that mask anywhere, Judge.
Okay. Let me just check with the attorneys. We were here last week and we had an issue with the plea papers and there being a plea agreement. Well, I didn't see any new plea papers. Are we still, what are we doing?
I'm just gonna orally amend it, Judge. We're going to not have the gang caseload. That's gonna be deleted.
Okay. Is that the only, I think there was also to have no, not contact with like co-defendants, but I think other gang members, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll take that out as well, Judge.
Okay.
Anything to do with gangs, I'll just take it out and we'll be done with it.
Okay, other than that, it's the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay. All right, Mr. Gomez, as you probably remember from last week, we are scheduled for a plea. We are going to start from the beginning today. So again, with the audio, I'm going to just ask that you keep your voice loud enough so that we can all hear you. Also, if at any point you can't hear me or the attorneys or anyone speaking, let me know, wave your hand, tell me, and we'll go back and repeat anything you may have missed. So I need to swear you in, Mr. Gomez. Would you raise your right hand, please? Or do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand out. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Angel Gustavo Gomez.
Mr. Gomez, as I mentioned, we are scheduled for a plea today. I'm going to be asking you about documents you may have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Gomez, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ortiz, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Yes,
Mr.
I did, Your
Ortiz?
Honor.
Okay, do you believe he has
Yes, I
understood?
did, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering a plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Ortiz, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter a plea?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No, ma'am.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has ever found you mentally ill?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. So are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you born?
Here in El Paso, Texas.
Okay, so the charge, although originally indicted as an aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, I understand through negotiations, you are pleading to a lesser included offense, a misdemeanor, a Class A misdemeanor assault to that lesser included offense, sir. What is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Freely.
I'll find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Mr. Duke, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Had the state of Texas proceeded to trial, the state of Texas would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 20th day of December, 2019, in the county of El Paso and state of Texas, Angel Gomez did then and there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause serious bodily injury to William Grajeda Weber, by striking William Grajeda Weber about the face or head with the hand of the defendant or foot of the defendant. We would offer that summary, Your Honor. States one, the plea papers, the plea court certification of appellate rights, and the 3914, and we're proceeding on the lesser included offense of Class A assault.
Okay. Any objection, Mr. Ortiz?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so the state's exhibits will be admitted as well as the summary. What is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state of Texas is recommending 15 months deferred probation, a $500 fine, 100 hours of community service, urinalysis and breath analysis, no contact with William Weber, anger management, and no trespass at the Gallatin Rec Center, or no contact with that.
Okay. Mr. Ortiz, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gomez, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case. You do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Gomez, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, signed by your attorney, signed by me as well. Finally, the last document, the motion for deferred adjudication. Mr. Gomez, do you recall reviewing the motion for deferred adjudication with your attorney and signing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ortiz, have you explained to your client both the benefits and detriments of deferred adjudication?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gomez, do you understand that if you violate a condition of deferred adjudication, the court can proceed to sentence you up to the full range of punishment for this offense? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication? Mr. Gomez? Mr. Gomez, are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Can my lawyer explain that a little more to me?
The answer is yes.
Mr. Gomez, do you need a minute to speak with your attorney? We can take a minute to go into a breakout room. You all can go into a breakout room.
No, ma'am. The answer is yes.
Do you know what deferred adjudication is?
Somewhat.
Can I explain it to him real quick, Judge?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the reason, remember we talked about deferred adjudication, which the good thing about it is if you finish your probation the way you're supposed to, the case will get dismissed. Conversely, if you mess it up somehow, if you don't do something you're supposed to do, you could be punished the full range of punishment, which is up to 1 year in the county jail. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that something you want to still do?
Yeah.
Your case can be dismissed if you do everything correctly, right?
Yes.
That's something you want to do, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Gomez, do you understand now? Do you have a full understanding what it is that you're agreeing to do today? In other words, do a type of probation that, you know, if I go forward with it would mean that you would not have a conviction at this time, but you are on supervision under this court. And there are conditions that you will have to follow that if you violate, as your attorney explained, you could be subject to up to 1 year in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll find that there is sufficient evidence to substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I will not enter a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I will defer further proceedings and place you on community supervision for a period of 15 months. You will have the aforementioned conditions that include a $500 fine, no contact with the complainant, anger management. You are not to go within 200 yards of the Gallatin Rec Center and all other conditions that were stated previously. Anything further, Mr. Duke or Mr. Ortiz?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor?
Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. Gomez. Thank
Your
you.
Honor?
Yes. Was that you, Carla?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
If I could get the court's approval as far as Mr. Gomez will be going through the interstate for transferring to New Mexico.
Oh, that's
However,
right.
he does travel for work. He does travel back and forth throughout El Paso and Texas. Will we be okay to put that on his conditions of probation as long as he's communicating with New Mexico as well?
Correct. So as long as it's for work purposes, that's fine.
Thank you, Judge.
Alrighty, anything else? I
Thank you,
forgot about
Judge.
that, sir. All right.
Nice
take
to
care,
see
guys.
everybody. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,